Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So the EU have now announced their launch date for the EES, the entry-exit system for Schengen. It's been delayed a bit, which has kind of worked out, I guess, for people in post-Brexit Britain, because this is going to be a hassle, but I think it probably would have been worse had it been on time. Although at least then the Tories would have had to accept the blame, because this is probably going to be another case of yet another new Brexit feature, which is going to have the unwary confused. After all, if Brexit happened years ago, why is this new stuff happening now? Because new stuff happens all the time, and we gave up our VIP pass to it all. But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So, anyone in Britain planning to travel into the Schengen area, which is the vast majority of the EU, sometime this, autumn? If so, congratulations, you get to be the guinea pigs. I actually wonder who this will hit hardest. Those who will be going for the first time in years and expect nonsense, or those who already travel regularly and think they know how to navigate the post-Brexit nonsense. Because starting this October, the way you enter the EU is going to change permanently. And a lot of the crucial details don't seem to be mentioned in the headlines. So we're not just talking about passport stamps anymore. There's fingerprinting, facial scans, new rules, which could trip you up before your holiday even starts. So what we're going to go over is what's really happening at the border and how you can best navigate it all. So big changes coming to how UK citizens travel to Europe. And frankly, the rollout looks like it's going to be a little bit of a mess. What's that? Brexit creating a load of annoying extra red tape? Surely not. You're probably thinking, okay, I've heard about this, but it keeps getting delayed. Yes, absolutely. It's been delayed for years, but the delays are now over. The first system, the EES, with ETIAS coming after it, is confirmed to start its rollout from October the 12th this year. Not a drill or some distant headline. This is happening in a few months' time. The problem is the reality of how it will work at places like Dover, Folkestone, St Pancras is shaping up to be a bit of a nightmare. This is a fundamental shift in how we cross the border, and most people are completely unprepared. It's times like this where it's good to be a hermit like me. So let's break down what you need to know to keep your travel plans from going completely off the rails. So let's imagine your first trip to France after October 12th, 2025. So you're in the car with your family going for the Eurotunnel. You've done this trip loads of times, but this time is a bit different. So you're approaching and then you see a sea of brake lights. So the queue isn't just long, it's completely stationary. This is what it's going to be like for the new entry-exit system, because it's your first time crossing into the EU after it launches, and every other person as well. And everyone needs to get their biometric data scanned. Now, that's not something you can do from the driver's seat. Port authorities have been warning for some time, you will need to get out of your vehicle. You're going to have to walk over to like a kiosk or a building, queue up. You'll have your fingerprint scanned, your live facial photograph taken, and then you multiply that process by every adult in the car and every car in the queue and every other vehicle in the queue, come to think of it. So very good job it's happening in autumn for the first time, where it's going to be, I suppose, mostly lorry drivers will be swearing about it, not summer with masses of holidaymakers, although that will be coming. The chief executive of the Port of Dover has warned repeatedly about the potential for severe delays because the infrastructure just wasn't built for this. And while new facilities are being built, the sheer volume of passengers is a huge challenge. Early estimates are suggesting it could add several minutes of processing time per person. Per person. So I think a car could have multiple adults. You've got lots of cars. That's a significant stop. You multiply that by hundreds of vehicles an hour at some point, and the math starts to look pretty worrying. You are not going to have a quick getaway. It's the same story at airports and train stations, of course, anywhere that's going to let people into the continent. Fingerprinting kiosks are being installed at places like the Eurostar terminal in London. The end of a passport stamp means the beginning of a more involved data-heavy process. Now, the good news is, in time, should be quicker than the old system, quick scan of the old passport, right? And your face. It's just that until most people who travel have had their data logged, there's going to be a bit of a process. Watch the Daily Express react with surprise at how annoying Brexit is again this October, and then again next Easter and summer. The current system's being replaced with a mandatory first-time enrolment that could see queues snaking right back through the terminal. And if there's any kind of glitch, you know, smudged fingerprint, bad photo, system error, you're going to be delayed even longer. So it's not just about inconvenience. It's about the risk of missed ferries, cancelled trains, a level of travel stress you didn't sign up for, right? The EU says that once you register, your data is then valid for 3 years, at which point quicker process through. So future crossings should be faster. But that first trip is the hurdle everyone has to clear all at once. And with a phased rollout from October this year to April next year, the period of adjustment and chaos is going to last for months. And just to be clear, the purpose of this system is to make sure people don't overstay their welcome in the Schengen area. So had we not left the EU, we wouldn't need to do this. The terminals would still exist, but not for UK citizens, which means the number of people who would have to use them would be very few. It might be some, for example, Americans or Australians travelling from the UK to the continent. Not everyone with a British passport. So we wouldn't have had to do this had we remained in the EU, because we'd have had the right to remain in Schengen as long as we liked, even though we were never part of it. So if being forewarned is going to be of any use, we know the problem, we need to know the solution. Knowing what you're up against is half the battle, so we need to break it down. There are 2 new systems to get your head around. There's ETIAS, which I've just been talking about, and there's ETIAS. So let's start with the first and most immediate one, the entry-exit system, or EES. Basically, this is a high-tech digital system that replaces the passport stamp. It's been introduced to register non-EU nationals, including us Brits, every time we cross the external borders of the 29 countries in the Schengen area. Its main job is to track who is entering and leaving, to automatically flag anyone who's overstayed their 90 days visa-free limit within a 180-day period. It's basically a border control immigration system, so the Brexit supporters should absolutely love it. The system will record your name, travel document details, but on your first entry, it will capture your biometrics, specifically fingerprints, facial image. So, the date for your diary, after multiple delays, the EU has confirmed that it's going to be beginning a phased launch on October 12th, 2025. The full rollout across all participating countries should be finished by April 2026, which means that from this autumn, you could face these new checks. So, who's it going to affect? All non-EU nationals travelling to the 29 countries in the Schengen zone for a short stay. That includes UK citizens. Unless, of course, you've got an EU passport. The main exemption from providing fingerprints is for children under 12. So if you're travelling with kids that are under that age, they're sort of off the hook. But adults and older children will need to register. Also applies no matter how you travel. Doesn't matter if it's air, sea or land. Because it's all about making sure you're not too long in the Schengen area. So it doesn't matter how you get there. So how's it going to work in practice? Well, on your first trip into the Schengen area after October 12th, 2025, you have to do the initial EES registration. So you've got major hubs like Dover or the Eurotunnel. That'll happen at various controls there, meaning you'll do it on UK soil before you even get on the ferry or train. You'll be directed to a kiosk where an officer or automated system, oh, that'll be fun, will take your fingerprints and photo. The data's then stored, linked to your passport for 3 years. For your trips within that 3-year window after that process should be quicker. You'll just need to scan. Passport, maybe your face to verify it's you. But a quicker process depends on the tech working perfectly, of course, and enough kiosks being available. During the initial 6-month rollout, things could be getting confusing, with some border points using the full system while others will still be stamping passports. So that could create some confusion too. Bottom line for ES is this. Your first journey after it launches will take longer. And the big learning point is factor in a lot of extra time. Because if you don't, you could be in for a bad time. I wonder if the Daily Mail will warn their readers in advance or just wait for the chaos. Then, just when you think you've got your head around the checks at the border, there's another system you need to know about. This is called ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. This is the sort of second trap that could catch some people unawares next year. So the EES is the check you do at the border. ETIAS is the permission you need to get before you even leave home. It's a pre-travel authorization, just like the ESTA system that the United States uses. It's not a visa. We have visa-free travel in the EU, limited. It's more a digital permission slip that says that you have been pre-screened and you can travel into the area without a visa, right? So UK citizens will need an approved ETIAS to board a plane, a ferry or train to any of the 30 ETIAS countries this time, because without it, you won't even get to the check-in desk. So when does that start? Well, the timeline at this point gets a bit fuzzy. The ETIAS launch depends on the EES system being fully up and running. So they can't launch ETIAS until EES is up and working and they're happy with that. So because EES was delayed, ETIAS has also been pushed back. So the latest from the EU is that will launch towards the end of 2026. There might be a grace period, so it may not be mandatory until 2027. The key thing is you don't have to worry too much about that one just yet, but have it on your radar. In terms of who needs to apply for ETIAS when it does come in line, just like the EES, it applies to travellers from over 60 visa-exempt countries, which includes the UK. You'll need it for short stays of up to 90 days within that 180-day period for either tourism or business. And how you get it is once the system is live, you'll apply online through an official ETIAS website. The application will ask for your personal details, passport information, and it'll give you some background security questions. The official fee is €7, applies to adults between the ages of 18 and 70. So if you're under 18 or over 70, the application will be free, but you still have to apply. Once approved, an ETIAS is then valid for 3 years, just like EES, or until your passport expires, whichever comes first, and it's digitally linked to your passport. So if in that 3-year period your passport expires, you will need to get it again because you'll be linking it to a different passport. It's absolutely vital you only use the official EU website. We've been warned about this to apply for ETIAS when it launches, because with the American ESTA, there were lots of copycat sites popped up to sort of charge you extra for nothing. So watch out for that one. In terms of actionable advice, so what do you need to do? Simple checklist to make sure you're ready. Check your passport, first and most important. That's always important. It's been important for a few years now. Your passport has to meet 2 rules. First, it has to have been issued less than 10 years before the day you enter the EU. That sounds standard. But second, it must have at least 3 months of validity left on the day you plan to come home. Go and check the issue and expiry dates on your passport right now. If it fails on either of those rules, you'll be turned away. People have been burned by this before. Well, my passport's valid. Yeah, it's not valid enough, mate. So, yeah. Allow a lot more time for your first trip once this system rolls out. It might be that if you're going between this October and next April, you may end up going there and they don't use the new system. But because they could be at any point from 12th of October, just allow for a lot of extra time. Don't cut it fine. Because even if you think you're ready, first of all, it's going to take you a long time to do it. Remember, lots of other people in the queue won't even know what's going on. Someone will come up to their window and say, you need to get out and scan your face. And there might be a confused look on their face. What are you worried about, mate? What are you worried about? So there could be extra delays from people in the car going, what are you worried about? Don't cut it fine. If you're driving, plan to arrive at the port or tunnel hours earlier, I would say, especially if you're traveling during peak times like, next Easter, when it will sort of definitely be in place. If you're flying, add at least another hour to usual airport arrival time. First registration process is guaranteed to cause delays. Then you need to watch for the official ETIAS launch. This is towards the end of next year. Obviously, I'll do more videos between now and then. It's supposed to be coming late 2026, maybe 2027. Don't get ripped off by fake websites. Official launch will be announced by the EU. When it is, remember to apply for your whole family well ahead of any planned trips. Most applications should be approved very quickly. It's an online process, but it could take days, right? Next, don't forget the UK's own system. So to add one more layer of fun, UK has its own system called the Electronic Travel Authorisation, or ETA. That's for people visiting the UK. So while British and Irish citizens don't need one, if you've got friends or family with you from an EU country, they will need a UK ETA before they travel. That's a requirement being rolled out, and that application costs £10 because, of course, we had to charge more. The way we travel to Europe is about to go through a huge shake-up. Biggest shake-up in a generation. And then you think, well, what happened a generation ago? It got way easier because that was when the EU was being formed and we as founder members. This is the opposite. Extra hassle initially. Maybe quicker and easier once the process is well established. But being prepared is your best defence against having a trip ruined before it even starts. Understanding what's required, checking your documents, giving yourself plenty of extra time, knowing the timelines. will help you navigate this new world of travel. If you know others who are planning to travel and you like them, let them know as well. If you don't like them, leave them in the dark, unless they're going on the same day as you, in which case that's just self-defeating. But let me know what you think in the comments below. For more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.